How dare you come to this stage in front of this intelligent crowd and blatantly utter that the Nigerian judiciary has failed? When the house is on fire, please wait. When the house is on fire, you do not let that house burn. Let me tell you what you do. You call the firefighters. So as when injustice strikes Nigeria, the first and final call goes out to the Nigerian judiciary. My opposition here, they call it failure. Whereas we, the opposition, stand here and we call it the only institution brave enough to stand between the oppressor and the oppressed. So I ask you, my beautiful audience, if not the Nigerian judiciary, then who? Honorable panel of judges, distinguished guests, my respected proposition, my fellow co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers at home, good day. I who stand before you is none other than Miss Ohuche Chizoba Deborah from the peak of Cherryfield College, Ikoyi, Abuja. I stand here today not just to stand on the words of my first speaker, but to completely obliterate whatever the proposition has to say to let this motion stand. And now, I'll begin by saying, the Nigerian judiciary, let me just let you know, it is not a word to be associated in the same sentence as failure. Because when you call its name, you call its name with power. It is the Nigerian judiciary, call its name with respect, please. It is not only the last hope for the common man, but it's the last bastion of justice in Nigeria. You dare to call it a failure, that means you didn't do your research. Now, my honorable adjudicators, allow me to go into exactly why they are wrong and we are right. The proposition here argues that the judiciary is too corrupt. Yes, it is. I will not lie. It is corrupt. There is corruption all over the world, my audience, especially in Nigeria. It's nothing new. Let me tell you, we've seen it before. But what we haven't seen is that the judiciary is the only institution that actively cleans itself and rids itself from its corrupt members. Did you know? They fire corrupt members. If you did your research, you would know that. Let me just tell you now, the Nigerian judiciary is far more bigger than what you are leaving it to actually live for us and saying. The Nigerian judiciary is strong. It's not something to be placed in front of a crowd and be debated. The proposition here argues that, okay, the judiciary is a bit slow though. Yes, it is. But let me tell you something you don't know. Justice delayed is not justice denied. 99 days for the thief, they say, 1 day for the owner. You can steal over and over again, but let me tell you, the day that they catch you, you will regret that day ever happened. But let me also include that they are actually fixing themselves, because if you did your research ever since COVID, things like e-filing, yes, you can bring a case to the judiciary through the internet, did you know? With time-bound judgments, did you know? The proposition here argues that people can't have access to the courts. They said something, but because it happened in the past, it does not mean it is irrelevant. Why don't you stand up and tell that to the 350,000 people the Legal Aid Council helped? Why don't you get up, walk all the way to the local market woman who won her land back and tell that to her face that it is a failure? My dear proposition, please do not confuse systematic poverty with judicial collapse. That's not how it goes. The proposition here, they actually argue that the judiciary upholds fraudulent court cases. Okay, quick question to everybody. Why did APC lose Zamfara? Why did Bayelsa State Governor-elect get disqualified? Have you done your research? I ask us again. Because when you bring a petition without evidence, it is not the court that has failed, it is your case. The proposition again, they actually want to argue that the executive controls the courts. This is a very serious thing. Then why, tell me, do court rulings and proceedings continuously embarrass sitting presidents? Why do they do that? Why do they fear the courts? Why do they try to control the courts? And overall, why do they avoid the courts if they actually control it? You need to reason before you come. And let me tell you now, the second proposition speaker actually just left this podium and has managed to try and attempt to convince you all that what they are saying is right. But let me tell you, they are doing this just so they will win. I'm doing this because I believe. That is why I'm standing here today, to let you all know that the judiciary is not a failure and it should not be associated with such. Before I lay my points, let me tell you why. I, for one, I am an aspiring lawyer. And in the crowd here, I can pinpoint a few lawyers. We have distinguished guests who work for the judiciary and with the judiciary. They're telling me the profession I choose is a failed one. They're telling me the profession that they work for is a failed one. Nonetheless, did you know that the judiciary is a holy institution, for crying out loud? It is a sacrilegious institution. Did you know before you speak in the courts, you will be first asked to swear on the Bible or the Quran? And you're telling me that God's law is a failed one. Truly, proposition, do you believe that? Let's not be ludicrous. Let's not be preposterous. Let's not be ridiculous. And now, I can't just come here and just backfire everything they came to this stage to say. I have to give my own points. Courts have protected protesters and activists. Let me use that to counter what you said. Martin Luther King said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I just used that yesterday, if you just noticed that. High courts have restored traditional justice. In 2023, the court reinstated Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the emir of Kano, after his unlawful removal. You dare to say that it is a failure. The judiciary has enforced labor rights and reinstated workers who were unjustly sacked. That is not failure, that is maturity. Did you know that thousands of cases have been solved yearly, fairly, yet the proposition wants to come and call it a failure? Let me tell you something to round up everything I have just said. Now, the proposition wants perfection in a country that hasn't even perfected democracy. Let me tell you that when the common man falls, the only arm that outstretches itself to pick him up is the arm of the judiciary. And you want to bring it down? Bring down the only institution that's helping us, please. Let's be sensible. And now let me end this by saying the next speaker of the proposition is going to come up here and talk. And he's going to try and convince you all. But I hope with everything I've said, you already know where you stand. Don't let the lies fool you. I have removed the wolf from the sheep's clothing, please. Understand that I'm not standing here because this is the side I was given. I'm standing because I support it. And I can stand on whatever word you throw against us. Thank you.